And we are live, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. And I got Nathan Clay in the house. Can you hear us all right?
From Carpinteria, California.
Leah, I can hear you, but I don't know if I'm hearing you or the phone.
Okay, I'm gonna hang up. Will you just text me? Okay, bye. Yes, so here we are. We are live. We are in the house. So thank you, everybody. We're having some technical, maybe not technical difficulties. We're just working through it. I want to use my headphones because we are in a hotel. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm on the road this week, and we have Nathan Clay coming to you from Santa Barbara. And so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, you can all hear me. All right. So we're just going to get to it today. So thank you for joining. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Coming to you again from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm working on the road, but the work never stops. All right. I love all things health and wellness, and I love to talk to other people about health and wellness. So Nathan and I met about a year and a half ago. I was a course mentor for a program that both Nate and I participated in. And I was the course mentor, and Nate he said he doesn't even see our presentation. It's on Mind Your Health.
Oh, no.
So it's live. He just doesn't know how to find it. So that's okay. It's streaming because I can see it. So let me just go real quick here, guys. I'm going to take just a little quick second out and see if I can find my live on here. And are we going live? If not, it'll be tape delayed, and we will post it, but we should be live. That's kind of frustrating. It should be going live. Why don't I see it? Okay, he found us and he can hear us. All right, we are golden. We got this. Look at us go. We are doing the technology thing, and I'm 54 and I'm doing the technology thing. Yee me. I don't know how old you are, Nathan. I'm not going to put you on the spot. So, Nathan and I, how old?
40 something.
All right, there you go. I like that. I'm 50 something. So I got a decade on you, I bet. So anyway, all right, guys, let's get to it. So again, Nathan, I was the course mentor. Oh, geez. Found you and I can hear you. Never mind. I found you earlier live, not the one you were trying to manage now. It says we're streaming, so we're just going to go with it. So anyhow, let me see. Let me see if I can go on my Mind Your Health and see it there.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
So Nathan, you and I were on the same, we were in the same program. I don't see that I'm live either. And it's supposed to stream right to it.
Let's see. Is it Instagram?
Shows me I'm live. I see it. Here we are. We're good.
Okay, great.
I see us on Facebook. All right, here we go, buddy. Sorry, everybody in Facebook world and Instagram live. So let's back up the bus again. So I was a course mentor. Nathan was taking the course. And so he and I just would spend, I want to say hours just shooting the breeze, right? About all things health and wellness. And on Facebook and can't talk. Facebook live. Can't talk. And so we would just sit and just chat about all things health and wellness. And let me tell you, Nate has a mind of like a sponge. He wants to know everything just like me. So I feel like I found my my partner in crime when it comes to all things health and wellness. Truly. I mean, nobody wants to sit and spitball with me all day like Nate does. And my family, they're all like, Mom, you're so singularly focused. You are just, all you think about is health and wellness. All you talk about is health and wellness. They call me Wikipedia, right? So nobody wants to talk to me about this stuff but Nate. And so we're going to talk today. We're going to sit and talk for about an hour. and I hope you're buckled up and ready to go. So again, I'm going to just, without further ado, introduce you to the, what did I put on my post? The man, the myth, the legend, Nathan Clay. Nathan is a biohacker extraordinaire. He loves to cook. He is a science guy, and he is a musician, which is so cool. I love music. Music is what floats my boat. All genres, everything. Since I was a little girl, I've loved, and just it's my life. It's a big part of all of our life. So, Nate, without further ado, welcome.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here talking.
I'm so glad you're here. And so we figured out yesterday. So I hadn't talked to Nate for a little bit, and I was in Santa Barbara for a wedding about a week and a half ago, and literally it was probably on the same street where Nate lives. And so when we caught up yesterday, I go, hey, remind me where you live again. He's like, I live in Santa Barbara. I go, oh, buddy, I was just there like a week and a half ago. We could have met. And he's like, bummer. So Nate lives with the other half. That's where all the other half lives, in the world that, that's where all the nice homes are that are worth like 1.5 million. Nice. Yeah. And Nate lives really close to the beach, which is a real bummer for me, but not for him, but for me, because that's where I want to be. But Nate, let's talk a little bit about on the announcement, which hopefully people will start to see. I will end up posting this later, and so we'll get lots of feedback after I post it and whatnot. But I wrote on your intro that you are a biohacker. So number one, let's talk about what biohacking means, and then let's just get right to it. Tell us all about that.
Okay, yeah. So for me, I mean, there's so many levels to what this thing is, biohacking. For me, it's just been sort of like adding one little thing, as time goes on, and just sort of paying attention to all these little things. I mean, there's sort of weird, super technical stuff, and then there's kind of just natural human stuff. And I've sort of started way more on the just kind of natural, things that you can do to help your system, to help your rhythm, to help your sleep cycle, to help your, gut and digestive system and all this stuff. And now I'm just kind of like cracking open the door and peeking in on some of the more, technical stuff. So for me, a lot of it is just getting outside in the morning, first thing, putting my feet on the grass and getting some sunshine. And, that is something that everyone who has access to, the outdoors should do. It's just such a great way to integrate your own kind of natural human rhythm and get your day going. And it actually helps you throughout the day and actually helps your sleep later that night. So just issues of light and earthing, that's a place we could start, for example. And then on to supplements and that kind of thing. And what are you taking to optimize your system? And I mean, I identify as a biohacker, but I'm sure there are people that are doing a lot of the stuff that I'm doing that aren't, calling themselves biohackers, because, there's certain vitamins and supplements that are sort of like, are you taking, CoQ10 or something like that, trying to optimize your mitochondrial health and that sort of thing. And I mean, there's a couple, sort of niche places that I've gone with it. Methylene blue is a fun one.
Oh yeah. Lots of methylene blue going on in the world. Yes. So Alphabetic they're big fans of methylene blue.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They talk a lot about it.
And so I've found that to be helpful. And that's something that I haven't been taking every day. I just sort of do it when I'm in the mood, and just gives me a little extra focus, a little extra presence in my mind. So
what is methylene blue? Share with our crowd that we have here today what methylene blue is.
Methylene blue is fun because it's the first synthetic medication maybe that was ever created, and it was not created as a medicine. It was created as a fabric dye in the 1800s. And then there was the guy, I'm trying to remember his name, but he started using it to stain slides for, microscopes and looking at cells and stuff. And then from there was a translation to, seeing how it reacted with like living things, and then using it internally, and it actually, has all these great benefits. And, this is coming from somebody that doesn't utilize hardly any pharmaceutical products, but this one is sort of in its own special category for me.
Yeah.
As far as synthetic products go.
Yep. Lots of talk about methylene blue. What would be maybe a non-synthetic equation that would add up to methylene, what methylene blue does in your mind?
That's a good question. I'm wondering,
you think like chlorella or chlorophyll.
Yeah.
I know I put you on the spot on that because I haven't really ever thought about that before, but
it's a good one, because I don't know if if I've really considered that. There are other things that I would take that are also sort of cognitive enhancers, or just sort of energetic enhancers. Like I said, even just like the CoQ10, for example,
right?
Sort of having really efficient, mitochondrial process. Like that's something that methylene blue does. And even just, having like a good ginseng supplement. And that
Absolutely.
Kind of
Absolutely. So ashwagandha, ginseng, some energy builders.
Yeah. Ashwagandha is another one that I like a lot.
Yep. And do you have a preference which ginseng you like? I know we're getting a little technical here, folks, but there's a lot of different types of ginseng. American ginseng, Panax ginseng. I don't know if you've ever gotten the little shots, the little shot bottles.
Oh, yeah, sure. I like
the shots. I love those things.
Mm-hmm. The one that I've settled on, and I don't have the brand actually, but it's a combination
of the Panax and American. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I bet I know which one.
The one that I'm like, because a lot of stuff you take it and you're kind of like, I'm pretty sure this is good for me, multivitamin. I'm pretty sure I need this and this is good for me, but I'm not like, oh my God, I had my multivitamin just now.
Yeah, for sure. But ginseng does it for me.
There's a ginseng that I've found that's like I'm saying, the combo that actually works. And I'm like, wow, okay. I just went from I take it in the afternoon a lot, instead of caffeine or something. And I just kind of went from dragging to on point. So I think something happened there.
Yeah, so that's a biohack, folks. So we're talking about biohack. Instead of having your Red Bull, instead of having your coffee in the afternoon, what Nate and I are talking about is ginseng. And there's a lot of natural products out there that do give you energy, your B vitamins being one of them. But you can get actually little shots of ginseng. They usually, the ones that I used to get, come in like a flat tray. And there's like, I think 10 or 12 of them. And you can just put a little straw in and suck them down. It's like taking a shot of energy. And then you don't have to have the adrenal, fatigue from potentially doing the caffeine. You don't have to have like all the Red Bull stuff that's in Red Bull. And we won't go down that path today because I don't want to bag on all the food industry today because I'm kind of over the food industry, to be honest with you. But how much can we go on this rabbit wheel or this rabbit hole before we like make a change, right? We can keep talking about it. Let's do something about it. So, and how I do something about it is I don't give them my dollars, or I try not to. That's pretty much impossible these days because all these companies own everything. So, anywho, so biohacking. So, give us a couple of names of some of and I can provide it if you don't know, some of the most famous biohackers that are out there right now that people might have some affiliation with.
let's see, like Dave Asprey,
Yeah.
Bulletproof
Good old
Guy,
Dave.
Ben Greenfield,
Ben Greenfield. Yeah.
who else
Tony
am I
Robbins
thinking?
is kind of dabbling his feet in
Sure,
that
yeah.
area. He wrote a book. I can't think of the name of it right now, but he talks a lot about a lot of biohacking stuff in his book. It's a really good book, actually. Yeah, so
and there's a little community, that I've sort of started following on Twitter too, which is, there's a lot of, people out there that are
yeah,
on the same page with that kind of stuff.
yep,
And actually, so, I was talking about some of the places I haven't gone yet, which is really like investigating the peptides.
right, yes,
Which honestly I'm super interested in. Part of it's just sort of financial, it's like, oh, it might be $100 or something. I'm like, it's probably good, but like I don't know if you've messed around with the BPC 157, for example.
So I have a friend that's a doctor in Boise,
Mm-hmm.
Idaho, and so I found out about them from her like 5 years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
so I've kind of did a deep dive into them because of her,
Mm-hmm.
and she continues to kind of stay on that forefront. Her business name is Harmony Health. I've actually had her on a live
Mm-hmm.
before, Dr. Mindy Leroy. So I've delved into it because of her, and I do use like collagen peptides. I haven't actually had any of the injections or anything like that. But, I have to be careful with what I do because of my cancer history.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some theory about, using glutathione. There's some theory about, when you start messing with stuff with stem cells and that sort of thing, the last thing we want to do is stimulate any kind of stem cell cancer growth. And so I'm a little bit apprehensive with some of that stuff. I tend to stay more on the line of building my body up from like the natural means versus I don't ever want to like overmodulate anything, if that's even a word, like I don't want to stimulate really anything. And so there's some theory that glutathione can actually stimulate cancer growth. And so I don't do so in the clinic that I used to run, we do glutathione pushes. And so I was getting lots of those. And so glutathione is it's an antioxidant. It's like the master antioxidant. For those of you that are on here, it's like the master antioxidant. And there's some theory that it's very anti-cancer. N-acetylcysteine, I believe, is the precursor to glutathione. But there has been some research to show that glutathione can stimulate cancer growth. So I was getting a lot of glutathione pushes, meaning they'll inject you and then they push it in, and they have to do it slowly or it can make you sick to your stomach, which it did me. So I've kind of steered away from some of those because I'm more about looking at the root cause and building the body up from that perspective versus artificially, I guess, sort of, I don't want to overmodulate anything. And so like when we look at homeostasis, like we want an immune modulator. We don't ever want to stimulate the immune system to where it goes into hyperdrive. We want to modulate it. And so to your point, yeah, I haven't really personally delved into it for use for me. So,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
it's
so
definitely a place
there are
to look.
some that I'm interested in, not as maybe sort of like short-term, things, not long-term things, like some of the nootropics, that people are
Right.
using for kind of brain stimulation for
Right.
sort of periods of focus for
Right.
writing or doing something when you really need like a burst.
Right.
I think a lot of it for me is, you were talking about the modern food system or whatever, and all of the other stuff that we're up against. For me, a lot of the biohacking stuff is sort of trying to actually return to, how your body should be working and
Right.
should be responding. So, I've got, I wear the orange glasses at night.
The blue blockers.
The blue blockers,
Yeah.
Actually,
Everybody
right here,
should. Everybody should.
I'm in my wife's office, and I don't have my screen glasses with me, but I've just found hers. So
Well, as a reminder. Oh, I love those. No, those look great. Are those your wives?
Yeah.
So if I didn't tell you already, I may have, because I know when I was the course mentor, I mentioned this, f.lux. So you can download
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
f.lux, yeah, on your computer, and it gets gets rid of, hey, so anybody who's listening, you can buy the blue blocker glasses like Nathan has. I have them built into my lenses in my glasses, but you can also download f.lux to your computer, and it mimics natural daylight. So as you go through your day, it will go from daylight light to like nighttime light. So essentially what that's doing is that is programming your pineal gland and stimulating melatonin, so that your pineal gland will stimulate melatonin so that we can sleep. So it's studies have been shown, and we can get into this, Nate. Let's talk about biohacking. Let's talk about EMFs and testosterone. So we're going to just jump around. That was going to be the last part of our talk, but let's just talk about that since we're going down this road. So, you know, we are being bombarded, people, with EMFs, with electromagnetic frequencies and radiation. And even in your phones, on those iPhones, each phone actually has different levels of radiation that they emit. And actually, iPhones are one of the worst. But in your phone, it even has a warning to keep the phone as far, 3 to 5 feet away from your body. And so what do? Well, men, first off, they stick them in their pockets. And which pocket do they typically stick them in?
Front pocket, next to your, sensitive areas.
Next to your testicles, people. And what do you think testicles do?
Produce
sperm.
Really, well, sperm, and then, testosterone also.
Testosterone.
Super,
important. Super important.
Hormone.
Super important. Yes, for men, especially because testosterone, again, is the master hormone that makes estrogen.
So I've got this, it's annoying and I love it. I got mine from Defender Shield, but it's, I have to, physically open the case, but this is a total like EMF blocker on this side.
I know.
So this is the side that always faces my body. When my kids are using my phone, I'm like, no, you got to have the thing back if you're holding it. It doesn't
it's
block
true.
anything. It absolutely.
I think they're like
the radiation, but as much as we can, do.
I think they're like 99.6 or something like that, if I remember correctly. I have a safe sleeve. But it's same as Defender. So all my laptop things that we use are from Defender. But
do you have any experience with the Aries Tech?
I've looked into it. Yes, yeah. And I actually bought I can't remember if it was Aries Tech or if it was, can't remember who it was, but I bought for my family the stickers you put on the back of your phone.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know if it's Aries Tech. I can't think of a guy.
There's a couple.
Yes.
I don't remember what the other one I know is besides Aries Tech. There's at least one more. But
yeah, I think it's the guy from EMF Rocks.
Okay.
I think that's who he does there's a lot of them out there, folks.
And the theory there, it doesn't block the EMFs. It actually, what they say is it brings it into coherence.
Yes. Right.
So it doesn't have the same damaging effects on everything.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I've been super interested, and it's just like another thing that I haven't pulled the trigger on for whatever reason, and I kind of want to get them for everyone, for Christmas or whatever.
Is the stickers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put them on your phone, put them on your laptop, and that kind of
thing.
Yeah,
they're not cheap, so they're like
definitely right. Yeah. Definitely can't hurt though. It's like the kind of thing like there's a little financial, investment, but you look at their science and I can't find any holes in it,
I know.
And you look at like brain scans and I hear other people that know more than I do that talk about it, and it seems like this stuff is working. So Yep. If it's not blocking the EMF, like I said, but it's definitely limiting,
transcribing it. Yeah.
Because the damage is real.
It's real. It's real. I mean, they've literally, I can't tell you, it frustrates me beyond belief when I see women walking around with their cell phones in their bras.
Oh yeah. And now
all the time.
One that they wear, it's like a necklace where your phone
yes
on you.
Yes.
Really, right.
I know.
But
and
people,
I can't.
They actually put their laptops on their laps.
I know.
which was probably fine before Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So let's talk about Wi-Fi. So we've
I've
gone
got like
from.
a nerdy like blocker too.
You have a what?
I've got a nerdy
Yeah.
blocker too.
Yeah.
That my computer's always on.
Yes.
Just like pad.
Yes. Is that a Defender Shield as well?
This one is actually, I think, Safe Sleeve or whatever.
Oh, good. Yeah, I like
so,
Safe
yeah.
Sleeve. It was like a couple of college kids that developed that company, and they actually sold out to a fairly large company out. So I'm sure that little couple of people are doing quite well for themselves now because the Safe Sleeve is all over. But yeah, so let's talk about what putting those EMFs towards the junk, towards your junk and your bras, what that does. It creates heat, lots of heat. And it creates a lot of free radicals, essentially, at the end of the day, oxidative stress. And if you are struggling you and your wife are struggling to get pregnant, I mean, I literally know people the men that took their phones out of their pockets and like a couple months their wife was pregnant. Low sperm.
It's been shown to lower sperm count. So
yep.
I don't have studies handy, but I've seen them.
Yeah, right. So Nate, let's talk about that. So let's talk about how important testosterone is for men's health and women's health, to be honest. And then let's talk about some of the things that might contribute to keeping those testosterone levels at optimal levels, and what you maybe feel could be potentially. I think the number one thing that when I manage the functional medicine clinic and we see a ton of men that were coming in more younger age than older age, which right there proves my point that all these younger generations, these young men are carrying their phones in their pocket. And we are seeing in our clinic, we saw drastically low testosterone levels in the younger generations. Not so much the older, but the younger. Let's talk about that. And plastics and EMFs. Give me your thoughts on that.
Man, so testosterone is, it's known as the like male hormone, but it's actually, men and women both have testosterone and estrogen. It's just, different levels. And testosterone is actually super important for women too. So
absolutely,
as far as it goes, and let's see, testosterone is key in like muscle strength and bone strength and sex drive and like we were saying before, sperm production, and a lot of other like regulating factors in the body too. So those are just a couple of the kind of big ones, but I mean, like hair, mood, right? So there's just like energy, I'm sure there's a lot more that I could go on about, but having low testosterone seems to be epidemic, and among young people, like you're saying, probably a lot to do with this Wi-Fi thing, and also to do with stuff in the food system. The plastics, like you're saying, are what are known as endocrine disruptors, right? So that really messes. It's just like the plastics sort of get in and mimic hormones, and sort of mess with where the actual hormones that your body is making are supposed to be getting. So all of toxins, plastics, and other stuff in the food system that are sort of getting into the body and wrecking your hormones' ability to do their job.
Yep.
And then also just sorry.
No, it's right.
Yeah. I was rambling. You want to refocus me here on?
Yeah, no, we were just talking about the importance of. Sorry, guys, I'm in a hotel and we got a nice machine in the business center here. So if you can hear that noise, it's the ice machine. Sorry, folks. So anyway, yeah, so we were talking about testosterone. We were talking about the importance of having adequate and optimal levels of testosterone in the body and what can happen if we don't, especially for men. But to Nathan's point, Nathan, can you hear me okay? Is that really loud?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, it's not only really important for men, but it's also really important for women as well, because testosterone gets converted to different hormones, primarily estrogen. And so we aromatase hormones differently, each one of us. And there's specific testing that you can do. So one of them is the Dutch test. Actually, the company that created the Dutch test is really close to where I live in Oregon. And that shows supposedly how we aromatase our hormones. So when we have healthy digestion, when we have a healthy liver, we create these hormones, providing we're eating a healthy diet, and then we utilize them in different factors. Well, hundreds of different functions in the bodies from hormones, right? It's not just about sex. It's not just about making children. There are so many other functions. I mean, it's muscles, it's mental health for men. I mean, if you have low T, you are likely to struggle with depression, anxiety, fatigue, body pain, low libido, no drive. Like, think about what testosterone does. It like fires men up, right? It gets them like, it makes them manly. It makes them, let's do this, you know, let's fight, let's punch each other. And so, funny story, and I won't go into details, but there was somebody I know in my family that was actually using some testosterone. And there's a lot, and he was using a cream, and there's transference. So you can actually get transference if the male's using it on their, private parts, and you don't wait enough hours until you have sex with your partner, it can transfer into a woman's privates. So that had happened, and to me, and this is how powerful testosterone is, and I'm not telling you this to gross you out. I mean, come on, people, we all have sex, right? Most people have sex. It's part of being married. So let's not get ooey gooey about this, because it's not ooey gooey. And so a couple years ago, we did the deed, and within like a week, I'm not even a week, maybe 2 or 3 days, I start getting like super road rage, and like my voice starts getting deep, and I start getting pimples on my face. Yeah, I'm driving in the car, and I'm like flipping off every driver, and I'm like, fuck you, da da da, and I'm like, and my husband goes, "What is wrong with you?" I go, "Oh my God, I don't know. Like, I'm losing it." And I'd already gone through menopause. I hadn't had a period in years, and I'm in the bathtub one day. I get out and see blood on the ground. Again, this is TMI, right? So I start my period after 10 years.
Wow.
From one transference episode. So I happened to have a doctor's appointment that same day.
Wow.
And like I said, my voice was changing. I got a bladder infection because testosterone changes the pH of your vagina. So I got this bladder infection. I have never had a bladder infection in my entire life. And so I go to the doctor, and I said, "Oh my gosh, and my husband's out of town." And I said, "It just dawned on me today. I started my period. I haven't had a period in 12 years. I am road rage. I have pimples everywhere. My voice is getting deep." I said, and I took his testosterone cream, and I said, "This is the cream he's using. We had sex one day when he forgot that he had put it on and didn't tell me until later." And I said, "Would this do this?" And she goes, "You just got a month supply in one time."
Oh my God.
For a woman. So if that doesn't tell you how powerful hormones are, and I'm sorry to be so graphic, but come on, we're all adults here. Maybe if there's children watching, it's important for you guys to not eat crappy food so you have healthy testosterone levels as you age. Yeah, so that just shows you how powerful testosterone is in the body for men, for women, the need. So imagine when it's low, how you feel. Feel like crap.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it seems like we have been saying to be epidemic. And you said you were seeing a lot of lab results in your practice, right?
Yep. All low, all dangerously low. And interestingly enough, I thought we're going to get a little conspiracy theory on you here right now. So I'm from a town that has a a base, an Air Force base, so lots of jets flying in and out. And there have been studies to show that jet fuel actually reduces men's testosterone levels, FYI. So if you live in, on, or near around a base, it is likely that you are being exposed to these jet fuels that are reducing testosterone levels. It's proven. Okay. We would see a lot of the men from the base coming in that had dangerously low testosterone levels. I mean, we're talking 16, 15, 14. Well, not 14. I'm sorry. You have to be 18. So 18-year-olds. But the kids that we were also seeing younger men, maybe obviously not from the base, because I think you have to be 18 to be enlisted, right? But all these men from the base with dangerously low testosterone levels, and they are forbidden to use any kind of testosterone therapy. They will be kicked out of the military if they are found to be using any kind of testosterone therapy. Right, now, you tell me why you would want your soldiers to have low testosterone.
Compliance.
There you go. Bingo. Because wouldn't you want your soldiers to be aggressive and like strong? Because I could point out a man in any room that has low T. I could point out a man in any room that has low T. If you put him in a tight shirt and, and tight pants, I could pick them all out, who has low T, because they have no muscles. They're weak. Vegetarians, no, this is no dig at vegetarians, you guys, because I know, whoever created this earth that made it that we have to eat animals to be strong. And you can argue with me all day long, unless you're working with a nutritionist, you are not getting the amino acids that you need. So let's segue into some red meat here, Nate. Let's talk about the importance of red meat in the diet. Let's talk about the importance of protein and meat, maybe just not red, but meat in the diet. There are just some amino acids that you can only get from eating meat. So if you're eating vegetarian and you're not working with a nutritionist and you are not tracking your protein levels, it's very likely that you have blood sugar dysregulation or insulin resistance because you are very carb centric. You're not getting enough protein. So let's talk about that.
That's one place to start with it is not, there are a lot of benefits, like you're saying, of red meat, meat in general, that because of amino acids, because of other stuff in there, because of good fats and that kind of thing. Testosterone's a steroid hormone and requires intake of good fats and cholesterol and that kind of thing. So there's that, but like you're saying, also just the fact that if you're increasing your protein in your diet, you're reducing your carb intake, which almost everyone, at least pretty much everyone who hasn't sort of consciously already done that, should, probably try.
Right.
Probably try to lower your carb intake, and part of the epidemic, whatever it is, modern epidemic, is definitely insulin resistance, and that builds up with too much refined carbohydrate intake. So and that insulin resistance, that messes with your hormone system in general, but also just like your okay, well, you mentioned the pituitary gland before, right? Okay, so pituitary gland produces luteinizing hormone, LH, okay? And luteinizing hormone is the thing that stimulates testosterone production. And when you have really high blood sugar levels, that reduces your pituitary gland's ability to produce the LH, and will lower the testosterone. So that's just one of the effects.
The pathways.
So you hear a lot of people going keto or whatever it is, low carb. tend to not be able to be that extreme in my life, except for
Right.
short periods.
Right.
So as far as like my personal biohacking goes,
Right.
I'll do some, short periods where okay, I'm fasting now or something
Right.
like that. But like overall, I tend to sort of eat a balanced diet. But over the past couple years, it's gone like really like moved way in the direction of more meat, and I've felt a lot better.
I'm the same boat with you.
And it also, and like I said, that's because of the benefits of the meat itself. It's also because it's displacing
carbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've noticed that with myself as well, since I've been really delving into lifting weights a lot. I've always lifted weights my whole life. When I was in college, I lifted a ton of weights, and I was actually on a powerlifting team for a very short couple weeks. I'm like, I don't want to do this. But could lift really heavy weights, but it's when I was eating a lot of meat, and boy, I could sure tell you, like, I am not working out near like I did when I was younger. I'm working out maybe 2 to 3 times a week. And I am seeing far more, and I'm 54, so, as we age, muscle wasting is one of the things that we look at in the face, and I will tell you that I'm not working out any more than I did when I was younger. The only change I've made is that I am like super focused on my protein levels right now. And it doesn't have to be from red meat, people. If you can tolerate eggs, I do a lot of eggs because, in my opinion, if you can tolerate it, for me, it's a superfood. Even though the term, the coin term superfood is actually not real. It's a marketing scheme that was done by the Food and Drug Administration, or the food, not the Food and Drug Administration, but the food industry, to create trends and to sell products. So there's really actually no superfood, right? We need all the foods. But if I had to say one that I couldn't go without, it'd be eggs. My workouts, the muscle definition, my strength, my energy, my focus has been it's like a game changer since I've been so diligent about my protein levels. And I'm trying to be at about, what happened? Oh, no.
Well, I'm still here. I'm not sure if I'm still alive.
We're back. I don't know. Was that you or me? I don't know what happened.
I don't know. I stayed on, but
that was weird. And I'm plugged in and everything. I don't know. Let me double check here. Oh, maybe that plug wasn't working. Oh, well, here we are again. So yeah, protein. So yeah, it's been a game changer for me. And so let's talk about, so I'm not a big believer in trends for food. Like, I'm not a big believer, like you said, in going keto or going carnivore, or I'm more of a eat just real food, right? But looking at those macronutrients and how important they are, and that's what we live in our world, of making sure that we get adequate levels of each macronutrient that's bio-individualized for us. So having said that, what would you say for Nate? What is your grams of protein that you like to live at in your days?
It's such a good question, and I wish I knew. I wish I had a good answer, because I don't. I should track it. I should try. I've never done it. I'm protein forward and meat forward with most of my meals, and then I like to and snacking. I'll snack on fruit and stuff. I'm on the raw honey train. But
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that raw honey train. We just talked about insulin resistance, so let's talk about honey and insulin and raising blood sugar.
Yeah, well, if you've got really good raw honey, and just before we step away from meat, because this it ties in, I think one of the big things for me is that I've found really good meat sources.
Yep.
Because if you're eating meat that has that's been raised with hormones in it, that's probably gonna mess with your hormone system too. So that might not have your intended effect as far as what we're talking about with testosterone. Although, as far as the muscle building aspect, having more, muscle mass um, will keep your T levels up and will keep your
Absolutely.
fat levels lower. So
Absolutely.
just the straight protein aspect, like you're talking about, is good. But like as far as really kind of dialing in a little bit, I think having a really good clean meat source, and whether that's locally, if you've got farmers around that are raising animals, or there's a couple delivery services. I get one. Actually, I get a couple. One on subscription.
Yeah.
um,
I do.
Online that have really great, regeneratively raised meat
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Who do you
Um,
use? I think mine is Good Pastures. Is it Good
Wild
Pastures?
Pastures.
Wild Pastures. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's who I
yeah.
use.
There's another one, man. There's a fun.
There's a
I just like.
ton. Butcher
Yeah. But
Box.
the price on Wild Pastures is really good. So as
It
far as
is pretty darn good. Yeah.
as far as the quality goes, and then there's another one that I've been getting. That they know me. They've been throwing ads for. It's like they give you a free freezer with your first delivery.
Oh, cool. No
So,
way.
dude, it's kind of it's worth it. You get like a half cow and a freezer to put it in.
Oh, wow.
And I'm
That's
trying to remember
cool.
what that is. That one's out of San Diego. So
Yeah, if you think of
uh,
it, let me know and I can drop it in our
okay, great.
show. Yeah.
But as far as just a long segue back to the sourcing, on the honey too. So honey, even though technically it's it's high sugar or whatever.
High glycemic. Yeah.
Yeah. But it also has so many other benefits. And
Yes.
it's not, and it doesn't spike your system as much as just like the same amount of sugar.
Right.
Right. And it's also got, a
Bee
certain
pollen.
yeah, exactly. So it's got
It.
vitamin and mineral and probiotic content to it.
Right.
That has a lot of other benefits for your system. And I mean, we definitely need some carbohydrates. Some people
Absolutely
survive for a while as on straight carnivore, and that's
I've
that's
yet
cool.
to meet.
I don't think
No.
I could do that.
I don't think I've honestly personally met somebody that I know that's done carnivore that's still sustaining carnivore.
Yeah.
Not one person. I mean, they do well for a little bit, but it's number one, it's too hard to stay on it.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, you're essentially what you're doing, why people feel so good, in my opinion, when they start doing carnivore, is they're doing an elimination diet, essentially.
Yeah,
so,
right. Yeah, exactly.
When you're eliminating all food and you're just eating meat, well, folks, you're eliminating three-quarters of the things you're allergic to. So the problem is when you try to re-implement foods that you've just abstained from for however long, you're actually creating more of an issue in the long run, in my opinion, because your body is now devoid of so many antioxidants and whatnot, that it just does, in my opinion. I mean, Jordan, what's his name? Peterson was a huge proponent of carnivore, he and his daughter both. And he recently, like within the last year, I think had some pretty major health issues. And he was like singing the carnivore song for years.
Yeah, sure.
And I haven't heard too much coming out of him lately about that, But supposedly, yeah, everybody that he was saying that he and his daughter both, who had all kinds of autoimmune issues, that their autoimmune issues went away. But again, you're doing an elimination diet, so of course you're going to heal the digestive tract, the mucosal lining. Yeah, of course. So, yeah, it's just crazy. But I'm a big proponent of, I eat meat. I was vegetarian for a lot of years, and I've never felt so crappy in my life, to be honest. I've never been more sick in my life. I mean, let's talk about how important protein is for immune health. Is that really loud? It's a baby crying.
There's a baby, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it's cool.
You're okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, folks. We'll do this next time in my home where it's a little bit quieter. But I wanted to get this off the ground and running. And what was I saying? Red meat and
We're talking about red meat, carnivore, and like long-term effects. Sort of.
what are your thoughts about the inflammatory part of red meat? Eating red meat.
Well, I think that you should be eating other stuff too to mitigate that, right? So as much as all of the benefits from red meat, and I think a lot of people could stand to raise their meat consumption if you're a meat eater. But like I'm saying, I think with good, really well farmed meat, a lot of those issues are
They're gone.
are taken care of. Yeah.
Yep.
And then also adding just really good, making good choices with plant foods.
Yep.
A lot of fresh herbs in there, for
Yep.
example, like
You're a chef. Let's hear it. Let's hear your favorite meal.
Okay, well, let's see. My favorite meal I made this week. How about this? One of the things that I've been getting from the Wild Pastures box is they've got a boneless short rib.
Yes, they do.
And
yes, they do.
I just braise that thing for a few hours, sear it and braise it. I'm big on slow cooked.
Me too.
So whether that's, I actually have a dehydrator setting in my oven.
Cool. Yeah, I do too.
I can salt something and like leave it in there at 125 for a while, even before I'm cooking it. And it's almost like a fake sous vide. I don't know if you use sous vide at all.
Yes, I have.
You can get it up to 125 and it's just hanging there for a few hours. And then even if it's like a steak or something and you're just gonna fry it, it's already just like right at the right temperature. You cook it real quick. So, but that, short rib I did with a little, it was a white wine. Actually, it was a dry mead, not a white wine, and beef broth, and then just put, sauteed a bunch of onions up before that.
Yummy.
Like a bunch of onions sort of just turn into the sauce. And then and just throw some carrots in there when I put it in the oven for the braising. I can't remember if I did like 275 or 300 for a few hours. And it just breaks everything down.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of connective tissue in that cut, which I love, but you break it down,
Yes, you do.
Like a brisket or something. Pork belly is kind of my jam too. And
I love pork belly so much.
Break it down. We've got a couple really good sources of pork around here.
Oh, you'll have to share with me.
Yeah.
I'm a pork girl through and through.
At the end of that, serving, like, I was saying, I take whatever. I'll just try to have parsley or cilantro or tarragon, or I've got a couple things in the garden every once in a while that I'll just like chop a bunch of that up and either cook it for a minute or just put it in fresh on top. And there's a lot of nutrient density there.
Yes.
So
what Nate's talking about for all you that are listening is, when you cook meat at high heat, you're creating a lot of acrylamides, a lot of toxic byproducts from the meat when it's cooked at high heat, specifically like when you barbecue. And so cooking things at high heat, it's just not as beneficial for the body as what Nate's talking about, slow cooking. Sous vide is a technique that you can purchase. I can't remember what it is. My brother-in-law has one of them, and he uses a sous vide for his meat, and it's delicious.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, you get it at the exact right temperature that, to cook to perfection temperature, and you let it go there for, half a day, a whole day. It's like, oh, I really want this at 148. And just kind of dial it, and then you can, sear it after if you want to do that, caramelize it on the outside, but it's just so soft and just like,
I'm starving. You're just making me even more hungry right now. Oh my
I know,
goodness.
it's kind of lunchtime, huh?
It is kind of, well, yeah, it's past my
for me,
lunchtime.
I know,
It's your
yeah, right,
lunchtime.
you're
It's
toward
dinner time for me.
Right.
But so you've been a cook, you've been a chef, you've loved cooking for quite a while.
Yeah.
What got you into this? We have about 5 minutes left. I want to hit
Okay,
on a
let's do
couple
it.
of things.
I liked cooking when I was a kid, and I liked just kind of doing experiments in the kitchen. And I remember like trying to recreate pasta sauce, like reading the ingredients on the jar, and it's like, okay, tomatoes. I got all this, and like making it. I was like, this didn't turn out the same, but then I made it for my parents, and they're like, no, this is really good. I'm like, okay.
Oh, wow.
Sure. And
Yummy.
then so I cooked and I baked. Just I liked. There's a few things I had, but then when in college I moved into a food co-op, and we cooked. Sort of you cook every 2 weeks and you clean every week. So you cook for like 25 or 30 people, and that's when it was sort of like, okay, this is what it's like to prepare food regularly for people. And we did all our own shopping. There's so
Oh,
much
wow.
fresh produce and
Oh,
so
my
much good
goodness.
food around, and like this was in the 90s, early days, still in a way, of like kind of organic foods and stuff, and so got to try a bunch of different things and just see what other people were cooking, and just got really conscious of food and ingredients and sourcing. And then after college, just sort of kept that ethos of like, what am I eating, what am I getting, what am I preparing, and making food for people. And also that's when I started getting into nutritional sort of hacks too. So maybe it's like my first kind of phase of biohacking was getting into like juice fasting and whatnot.
Yeah. I love juice fasting.
And
I never felt so good.
you do that for a few days, and it might just be the elimination thing, like you're saying.
It is. I think it is. Well, you know what it is? It's just giving your digestion a break. I mean, you're just you're flooding the body with nutrients without having to involve that.
There's a bunch of nutrients. There's enough to kind of keep you going, but your body doesn't have to do that much
Right.
work. So,
right.
Yeah. I mean,
I love juice fasting. I did a lot of it, so I probably burnt myself out a little bit on it, but it was a go-to when I was healing from cancer.
Yeah.
On the treatments, I should say.
Clean it out.
Yeah.
But now I just mostly cook for my family, but they really, really like my food. I get a lot of compliments around the dinner table.
That's the best kind. It's your family. If you can feed them, I mean, if you don't have a kid sitting there going, "This is terrible," then you're golden. You can open a restaurant in 50 states.
Yeah. Dad, how did you make this? I'm like,
no way. Know. So you can pass this on.
I cook really what I do. I cook really simple stuff. I love shopping for food. So I like find ingredients that I really like and whatever, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I just cook really simple stuff and just try not to mess it up. It's like, okay, how do I not mess it up? How do I get the timing and like the temperature of this right? And just sort of like, okay, this is going in now, and then first is going to be the onions, or first is going to be, I'm going to get the meat really hot in the pan, and then I'm going to throw some other stuff in there for just like a couple minutes, and then, or like whatever it is, just to like make sure that everything kind of comes out just right.
Meld together.
So no fancy techniques, just kind of develop an intuition around timing.
Absolutely.
And that kind of thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Folks, we are at an hour. I mean, we could keep going for an hour and a couple more hours, actually. We didn't even get to the fun part, which is Nate is a musician. He is a keyboard player in Road Movie Harmonies. Yeah.
Road Movie is the name of the band.
Road Movies. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know why I got Harmonies.
Well,
it was part of your
Harmonies in the band.
Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. So I'm sure you have a website presence and Instagram presence with
We
that.
do run Instagram, Road Movie Music, and we're actually, like any minute now, we're waiting for our tracks to come back from mastering. We're about to drop our album, so this is
I can't
very
wait.
exciting. And we've
I
got
can't wait.
yeah.
I hope I get to hear it. I hope you'll send me some
Oh
tracks.
yeah. We'll let you know tomorrow,
Nate,
next day. I don't know.
yeah, that'd be
Very
great. I'll
exciting.
share it on my platform. And
Great.
Nate, we're gonna do this again. We're gonna do
Cool.
this
Let's do it
again.
again.
So let me just shut us off. I think we are already over time, so I think it automatically kind of does that for us. Let's see. That was great. Let's see here.